I've been down, counted out, smiling through the taste of blood in my own mouth. I got bruises and broken bones, but they don't know I ain't in this ring alone. I'm a fighter. No one can say that I'm a running hider. I was born to be a do-or-dyer, a make-it-righter. Don't throw that towel just yet. Don't cash in that last bet, 'cause I hit harder when I'm tired. I'm a fighter. I get back up, that's what I do. I didn't soldier on this far just to lose. So take your shot, is that all you got? I'm a fighter. No one can say that I'm a running hider. I was born to be a do-or-dyer, a make-it-righter. Don't throw that towel just yet. Don't cash in that last bet, 'cause I hit harder when I'm tired. Yeah, I'm a fighter. Oh, no one can keep me down. They didn't know, but they know now. That I'm a fighter. No one can say that I'm a running hider. Don't cash in that last bet. Don't throw that towel just yet. I'm a fighter.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. It's been a while, hasn't it? Good to catch up to everyone. I'm Tabitha Hassell with Tabs on Tap. Typical Monday morning. I'm back here at 8 a.m. I believe it or not, I didn't get up until 7:20. So just what, an hour ago, I was still in bed. So I've been rushing around. I had to work. Some of you know I work nights. So I had to work last night, not every night. Doing anti-piracy, of course. We had a big screening last night at Faith Church out, I believe is at Fenton. I'm not sure what town that is, out on Gravois. And we do screenings there a couple times a year for these faith-based films. And I didn't get to sleep until 3 a.m. So it's been kind of a rough start to my morning. Good morning, Rob. Good to see you. And, I wasn't here much last week. As you guys know, I've been going through some medical issues and I had a lot of testing to be done. I have some more testing to be done today. And I have a necrotizing granuloma, if you've ever heard of that, right here in the center of my chest. And which is why you'll see this little dealy here on me. That's only gonna be there for a couple more days. But it's a crazy situation. I've been seeing an infectious disease doctor and they're telling me that it's not infectious. So now we're back to square one. If it's not infectious, well, what is it? Because they've tested me for everything under the sun. It's not a fungal infection. It's not histoplasmosis. It's not all of these different things. And I'm like, okay, did the aliens get me? Like, what is it? Who knows? Good morning, Mary. But I'll tell you what, we got a lot to talk about today, waiting for Col Joe Adams to jump in on the show. We'll be happy to have him when he does. Hopefully he'll be joining us this morning. And I did have a little bit of trouble getting set up today. Everything was good and done, but for whatever reason, the link wasn't working. So I did send Col Adams a new link. So hopefully we'll get that worked out. Just one of those little hiccups We have sometimes, unfortunately, in the world of podcasting, and in the world of radio too, back in my radio days, trust me, there were many, many mornings, particularly Monday mornings, when we'd get in, we'd be standing there behind the microphone, queuing everything up, and all of a sudden, like nothing happened. It didn't happen all the time, not near as often as it does in podcasting, but it certainly did happen. I think anytime where there's computers involved, there's room for things to go wrong. And so we'll be happy to have Colonel Joe Adams when he is available to join us. Hopefully he saw the new link that went out. Either way, lots to talk about today. As you saw, I played that video of Donald Trump and the song written for him. It's such a beautiful melody, isn't it? And very befitting, of course. Man, how many times do we come on the show and say, man, the world's on fire? Because it literally is. There's so much going on. There's just so much going on. We have so much to talk about today. And I'll tell you, I think I'm mystified. I'm mystified more than anything that even the level-headed Democrats, liberals that I consider to be level-headed, they don't understand the mission of ICE. It's mind-boggling to me. So we're going to be talking about that. Good morning, Dottie. I want to talk a little bit about, how to fix my camera here. I want to talk a little bit about Trump warming up to Putin. It's happening. We've talked before about Core 5 and what Core 5 is, and that is a new alliance, because we need to get out of NATO, right? We're going to talk more about this later, but we need to get out of NATO. I'm ready for this new alliance. The new alliance that's going to be, it's called the Core 5. They call it C5, like G7, but C5, which is going to be the United States, Russia, China, Japan, and I believe India. I know my brain's not working right today, but I do know that Donald Trump has been buddying up even more to Putin lately. He invited him to join the Gaza Peace Board, and that was I think, unexpected by a lot of people. But I'll tell you what, the folks of NATO, as you know, they are not our friend. The people in NATO, they're not our friend. Those countries hate us. We see this going on with Greenland, right? Everything that's going on with Greenland. Speaking of, good morning, Karen. Good morning, Vernon. Good to see you. Good morning, Dottie. And Donald Trump issued a statement to Greenland. So we're going to read this because it's pretty on point. And of course, he's talking to Norway's prime minister, and he's saying, hey, dear Jonas, considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 wars plus, I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace, although it will always be predominant, but can now think about what is good and proper for the United States of America. Denmark cannot protect that land from Russia or China. And why do they have a right of ownership anyway? There are no written documents. It's only that a boat landed there hundreds of years ago, but we had boats landing there also. I have done more for NATO than any other person since its founding, and now NATO should do something for the United States. The world is not secure unless we have complete and total control of Greenland. Thank you, President DJT. I think that, we talked about this a little bit last week, on Monday of last week, because that was the only day I had a show last week. But we talked about this a little bit on Monday, that we are going to go after Greenland. One way or the other, we are going to go after Greenland. And how that's going to happen, I don't know. Is it going to be something we're going to be doing militarily? I don't really think so. I think that I see the table starting to turn, quite honestly. And I do. I see the table starting to turn. We're going to bring Colonel Joe Adams in. I'm going to play this video for you. This is Micron. Yes, I know his name is Macron. And, quite honestly, I don't feel like I have to respect him well enough to have to say his name properly. And in Russia, Putin's right-hand man, Dmitry Medvedev, calls him Micron. And I think it's absolutely hilarious. So I think that Micron decided that this video might scare people a little bit. Oh, he's going to show his military power. This is pretty funny. You can watch this. I'm going to be grabbing Colonel Joe Adams. Oh, man. Good morning, Colonel Joe Adams of the Washington Guard. How are you doing this morning?
Real good. Yeah, let's have a conversation. That Macron guy, that's just pitiful. Jesus. Read that body language. Yeah, he stopped off at the wrong place. Anyway, good morning. Yeah, it's nice and cold out here in the frontier.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
we had a great muster on Saturday. I, for the first time, missed it. I came down with that 24-hour thing, whatever that is. Carl was down too, so I was MIA for Saturday, but they had a great turnout and just a fantastic training muster. Hey, now it'd be a good time before we get into serious stuff. There's something coming up hosted by the Washington Guard. Let me show you this. Okay. And Deanna will send you this, and you can post it.
Okay, I would love
So,
to.
one of my guardsmen, Tim Rafferty, black belt in 4 different forms of martial arts. This is great. Now, this is women's only, so no men. All right, you guys can drop off your wife or your girlfriend, but you can't come.
And not the ones identifying as women either.
Right. This woman-only seminar is designed to build confidence, awareness, and practical ability, skills that you can immediately use in the real world. And that's from on January the 31st, and that's from 9 o'clock to 1 p.m. Again, you can go to the Washington Guard. We'll have this on there. It's $40, and believe me, this is fantastic. So open to all women. You don't have to have a membership in the Guard. Beginners are welcome. No experience required. All physical abilities appreciated and can work around that, okay? Because if you have a physical impairment, you got to live with that. So we'll show you how to work around, okay? The 4 A's of self-defense, how to defend against grabs, strikes, and chokes. Simple street-worthy technique that you can learn in 1 day. So you can come out of there a badass in 4 hours.
And you're going to need it. You're going to need that training.
Yeah. So you go. If you want more information, you can look at the Washington Guard post, WashingtonGuard.com. If you want to contact us, it's pages at thewashingtonguard.com. This is a fantastic deal. This is at his studio. He's the Center of Defense Arts. It's at 416 East 5th Street in Washington, Missouri. This is a great opportunity, especially for women who have never had any kind of training whatsoever. And if you have had training, a good way to brush up. So please, girls, grab your girlfriend, your neighbor girl, whatever. This could save your life.
Absolutely necessary. I will tell you that.
And that's all I have to say about that.
Well, I'm glad you did say it because, Colonel Adams, as you know, and we are moving into very uncertain times on so many different levels. And, we're at the end of the show, hopefully you're still, with us at the end of the show. We're going to talk about a statement being made about the markets collapsing and, some different things happening when they make the alien disclosures. So we're going to talk about that too. So, are we going to be fighting these insane liberal women in the streets, or are we going to be fighting aliens? You never know what's going on.
Well, I've said this several times. People always ask me, well, what's the Civil War going to look like? Well, the beginning of the Civil War, basically just turn on your TV. That's how they start. So it's a sad thing. The only thing that hasn't happened, which is coming, is an exchange of gunfire. Gunfire so far has been one-sided, either or us or them. But when we start exchanging gunfire, baby, it's on. So
I expected that to happen, quite honestly, over the weekend, because you probably saw, I saw, I'm sure everyone here saw, we have a lot of people coming out, protesters with weapons, armed. Now, first of all, in the city of Minneapolis, this is all happening. Now, people keep asking me, well, why is ICE only in Minneapolis? ICE is spread out all across the country. Guess what? They're in St. Louis. They're whatever city you live in, I can guarantee you they are operating. But in Minnesota, it's a sanctuary city in Minneapolis. And they're making a much bigger deal out of it because they have a governor and they have a mayor. And I'm kind of 50-50 on the police chief, O'Hara. But, They're antagonizing. They're just antagonizing ICE. They're calling for riots. They're calling for their people to be violent. And that's why Minneapolis is in the news so much. But in Minneapolis, the only way you can open carry, I'm hearing, I didn't read this, but I'm hearing that you also have to have your gun holstered to open carry. You can't carry it on your chest. It can't be in your hand. Only handguns are allowed to be open carried in Minneapolis. And that's only if you have an open carry license. So we're seeing all these people walking around with different types of weapons on their hands with their fingers on the trigger. It is literally, it's going to explode at some point.
It definitely is. It's inevitable. Oh, speaking of St. Louis, what you said is inevitable. I got a call yesterday from a fire department in St. Louis, and they were watching the liberals are going around St. Louis posting flyers and handing out flyers to homeowners with whistles, telling them how to instruct. Did you hear about that?
Well, I did. I posted about it on social media because I'm like, hey, if you want a business opportunity, get out and buy yourself a 3D printer and start printing these whistles and these little pamphlets and start selling them on Amazon, because these people are buying them like crazy.
Yeah, if there's a local vendor for whistles, they're doing a booming business. That's for sure.
Colonel Adams, can I show you something really quick?
Yeah,
because you're talking about it, I want to show you what happens when you blow whistles at ICE.
My car, and I got out of my car with my whistle, and I started blowing my whistle, and then they started macing us, and I didn't do anything but blow my whistle, and the officer punched me in the face, knocked off my glasses, and I was still whistling, and then he punched me again and knocked me down, and then they arrested me.
That's what happens when you blow your whistle at ICE.
Yeah. Don't blow your whistle. Good. I'm glad somebody punched him in the mouth. And that lady that got shot, if I was a ICE agent was walking around back of the car and they shoved that cell phone in my face, I don't know why I just didn't slap it out of her hand. And now they find out that she was listening to her friend go, drive baby drive, and she just took off in a panic.
Colonel Adams, I don't know what's going on today. I really don't. I promise to people out there listening, Colonel Adams and I do not talk about the show. I have no idea what you're going to bring up or what you're going to say. But you know what? Twice now, I have a video to go with your statement. Do you know that there's new video that's been released that shows exactly what we've been talking about? That Officer Ross was distracted by not even a legal wife, by the woman claiming to be the wife of Renee Good. And you can see this is the first time I've ever seen this angle. I just saw it last night. Maybe some of you have seen it. And you can see just what we've said from the very beginning is that Officer Ross was distracted. B, he was just simply walking in front of a parked car. He was not standing in front of the car for any length of time. He was still in the process of walking past when she hit him. I'm going to show you this new angle and I don't know who this guy is narrating it, but I'll tell you, you must be reading my mind today.
So the officer in question is getting into the silver Tahoe right here. You see him put something in the Tahoe. She's parked. He assumes she's parked. Obviously, she stopped. Here she starts moving, and bang. By then, she's probably already dead. But he wasn't standing in front of the vehicle. He was moving across a parked vehicle. There it is. She hits him. So the officer in question is getting into the silver Tahoe right here. You see him put something in the Tahoe. She's parked. He assumes she's parked. Obviously, she stopped. Here she starts moving, and bang. By then, she's probably already dead.
Okay.
But he wasn't...
You can see, Colonel Adams, and anyone listening and watching, I tried to make that as big as I could. I can share that to anyone who wants it. First time I've seen that angle, you can see that Officer Ross is walking. And if you see the other angles of the video, he's on his phone. He's just talking to that crazy wife that's following him around. He's moving around the vehicle when he gets hit. It's not like he was in some menacing situation where he's, standing in front of the vehicle for any length of time.
Yeah, Paul, FAFO. I just got a T-shirt yesterday with that on there. We all know what that means. Hey, let me comment that they're making a big deal about he just didn't shoot her once. He shot 3 times. Now let me address that issue, if I'm still on. Tab, I lost you.
I see you.
Can you see me?
I see you. I can't see myself, but I do see you.
Yeah, I can't see you.
I
All
think
right.
I'll be popping in here shortly.
Well, now I guess I'm in charge of the show now. I'm on the left. You're on the right.
There we go. I'm not sure what happened there. Glitch.
You tell me when. Okay.
But everybody's still with us. Oh no, you're fine. You can continue on. Everyone's still with us. I don't know what happened there.
Okay, my audio's still on. Hey, as a professional marksman,
we can hear you,
and a professional gun person, champion shooter, 5 different stages of combat. Let me comment on as far as a police officer is training, and you're making a big issue now about the fact that he just didn't shoot her once, he fired 3 rounds. Okay. It is rule of thumb, once you have made that commitment to engage for whatever reason, you shoot until the problem is eliminated or neutralized. That's why he fired 3 rounds. That was his training. Period.
You're breaking up for some reason. I'm not sure what's going on. Let me try something here really quick. Let's see. All right. Are you there, Colonel Adams? Colonel Adams? Sorry, I don't know what's going on with my system. Just so you know, it is definitely me, and I apologize. I am working on it. No big deal, but it'll. All right. Let me try to bring you back in, Colonel Adams. Are you there?
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, they can still see and they can still hear us.
All right.
So don't disregard anything going on with the camera and just keep on talking.
Okay. Let me cover that aspect again. They're making a big deal about that the police officer fired more than once. Well, that's his training. When you have made the decision to engage for whatever reason, offense or defense, you don't just shoot once. You keep shooting until the target or the subject is neutralized. Until you neutralize the threat, keep shooting. And that's what I teach too. You never shoot once.
That's right.
You shoot until you know the problem's been neutralized. That's his training. That's it. It makes common sense.
Absolutely. And I apologize for whatever's going on with my system. It's on my end, some technical issues. I don't know what just happened. Sometimes I think Restream, the service I use, they update, because if any of you can see it, the comments now are appearing on the show. I've never seen that before. My camera's all messed up. Everything's all confused, but it's okay. Hopefully everyone was able to see the video, and you see that Officer Ross was walking in front of the vehicle. He wasn't standing there. He wasn't menacing. He wasn't intentionally trying to block her video. He just happened to be walking past when she decided to gun it. And Colonel Adams, you're right. He acted according to his training.
Yeah, but his training kicked in. Now he's trained for that for a long time. And Joe Lynette just commented on it. He's a former police officer, and he confirms what I said. You shoot till you neutralize the problem or the threat. Period.
Exactly. And I have argued this point with so many people. Why did they shoot him in the tire? The position he was in, he couldn't shoot. But here's what's crazy is there's a couple police officers I know who are definitely on the liberal side. And they're like, oh, me as a police officer, I would have never done that. I would have shot the tire. I'm like, are you serious? What if, let's just say that Officer Ross stepped back. He didn't act at all. He did not fire any shots. Well, then what if Renee Good would have gone down the road and plowed over innocent citizens or other ICE officers? Then everybody would be taking the opposite side. They'd say, oh, they should have shot her while they had the opportunity. She tried to run him over. They just can't win, can they? They just cannot win.
Yeah, shoulda, woulda, coulda. That's the Democrats. Anyway, right now, probably as of Friday, Mr. Walls and Frey up there in Minnesota, the mayor, if we go to insurrection, and by definite insurrection, Trump can go in with troops, that the FBI is going to arrest Walz and Frey for insurrection. So Mr. Walz is going to go to jail anyway for corruption. This is a big distraction away from his own personal problems.
It's bound to happen. But President Trump has been back and forth with the insurrection. At one moment, he says we're going to use the Insurrection Act, and he says we're not going to do that. He's got a group. Donald Trump, as you know, he has a group of advisors. Now, J.D. Vance said, "Man, we need to get something done here." But Donald Trump's advisors say, "Oh no, hold off." And later on, we'll talk about what's going on in Iran in the same situation where J.D. Vance has it right. Let's get in. Let's do something. Let's protect our ICE officers. Let's get these people listed as insurrectionists. And then the advisors say, oh, let's stand back a little bit. Let's not jump the gun. It's like, who are these advisors? I would really like to know, because I'd like to give them a pretty swift kick right now.
Well, this is an hour by hour situation, because and you've seen how fast these things change from 1 hour to the next. So he's doing the right thing. But let me comment on this Iranian thing.
Don't do it yet, because we got a lot more to talk about when it comes to Minneapolis.
Oh, okay.
But we are going to get to Iran, but I want to talk about a couple more things that's going on in Minneapolis first, just so we don't have to backtrack later. Okay. And I'm sure you've heard this, Colonel Adams, is that the 11th Airborne is ready to deploy. They're in Alaska. They are trained in Arctic warfare. Donald Trump has them on standby. And if things get out of hand, they're trained, they're able to operate in these snowy conditions. A lot more snow expected to fall in Minneapolis over the coming days, and which could make things a little bit difficult for any other branch of the military. But what do you think about active duty military being deployed to Minneapolis?
I think you have to. Really, the National Guard is trained for crowd control, that kind of things, but they're the National Guard. And then Walz, I believe, is trying to activate his National Guard from Minnesota. So what are you going to have? The American forces facing each other? That's not going to work. They're not going to fire on each other. But see, to even talk about that, hint of civil war. But the FBI wants to go get Walz and Frey right now. I guarantee that. And for a second, let me tell you what you're dealing with. These people are basically protecting the Somali neighborhoods and personnel. Okay. Now we know we got some illegals up there also, but the Somalis people. And Deanna triggered this question. She says, "Why do all the Somalis look alike?" Because of the inbreeding.
Oh.
No, that's it. Because of the inbreeding. That's why they all look alike. But the average IQ of a Somali is 60. 48% of the adult males, that's 18 or over, are illiterate. So
I did not know that. You're telling me things I didn't know.
Most people. So now we're dealing with thousands and thousands of Somalis who can't read or write. If they could, they're a 60 IQ, and they're inbred, which causes all kinds of medical problems and all that. But the reason they look alike, because of the massive inbreeding by the Somalis.
That's crazy. I did not know that. I guess it doesn't surprise me. People from other countries have different customs, different ways of doing things. And I know that does happen in other countries. So, of course, when they come here, they carry on some of those practices that were part of their culture, of course. But I'll tell you, Colonel Adams, I know I talked about this last Monday, and here we are talking about a Monday later, that I'm losing my patience. I am ready right now for something to happen. I am ready for the Trump administration to take over, to get out there in Minneapolis and other cities across the country. There's violence happening in other areas too, but what's happening in Minneapolis is about to explode. When you have these, first of all, the protesters are violent anyway. They don't need to be carrying weapons. Now, if they are a legal gun owner, if they are legally carrying their weapon according to Minneapolis laws, then good for them. I don't. That's your right to carry. I would never go against that. However, we already see before these people armed themselves, they were attacking innocent civilians. I know 2 incidents that have happened in the past couple of days where people were seriously injured. And just this weekend, there was a guy who was a pro-ICE. We've got a lot of counter protesters coming out now. A lot of people like you and I who said, hey, we're going to support ICE. We're going to get out with our American flag. We're going to counter protest peacefully against these other folks. And so one of these guys went out. He had his American flag. They took his flag from him. Of course, they all have their own flags. They beat this man with their flagpoles. No one helped this man. They beat him with their flagpoles. He's in critical condition right now. I've got it all on video. And these people are vicious. They are absolutely vicious. Now, of course, the violent people, I call them the super far right leftists. They're the smaller percentage that are violent. But if you see and you watch the protests, that group is growing because you know what? They find safety in numbers. It's the mob effect. They gather together in a mob and attack somebody. I would certainly say, man, even if you're pro-ICE, you shouldn't be out there. It's just not safe in Minneapolis.
Mob mentality. I would not go out to a protest because I'm always armed, and I don't want to have to defend myself, because as soon as you pull that gun and use it, the paperwork is. I hated all the paperwork all the time. Every time I pulled my weapon, I'm there at the police department till 5:30 in the morning filling out papers. So
right.
I don't have the mindset to go out, because if somebody would grab my American flag or throw theirs on the ground, I'm going to jail and they're going to the hospital, period.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Paul chimed in and says, what is the likelihood of an actual shots being fired? Oh, it's coming. It's coming. I was telling Deanna last week, I said, I'll be surprised if we go through the weekend without people start shooting at each other. And professional agitators. What if someone covertly would go up there and fire shots just to start the whole thing going?
Well, that wouldn't surprise me. A false flag type situation to kind of kick things into gear. I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. We know that's what these paid agitators do. But, people keep saying, and everybody's so excited about, the National Guard's been deployed. Well, that's the Minnesota National Guard. And the Minnesota National Guard, who are you think they're getting orders from? That's going to be Governor Tim Walz. And they're told, you're only here to protect federal buildings. No other purpose, protect the federal buildings, do not interact. Now, from what I understand, Mayor, is it Frey? Is that how you say his last name? Mayor Frey has instructed the Minneapolis Police Department to fight ICE, literally fight ICE, to obstruct them, to not allow them to do their job. And the police chief, O'Hara, I don't know if you've seen some of the videos of him. There was another one yesterday where he sat down with 60 Minutes and gave an interview. And it was pretty telling, because he's like, well, I support ICE going in and making arrests of the most violent criminals, but they shouldn't be out harassing your American citizens. They shouldn't be using pepper spray. I'm like, okay, does he see what's going on out there? These people are giving ICE no choice at all. They have no choices. They're backed into a corner.
No, I was reading his body language, and to me, he looked like a whipped dog.
Yeah, and that could be the case too, because whenever originally when Renee Good was shot, the Minneapolis police released a statement in support of ICE, and then I think that Walz and Frey immediately stamped down on that. And they said, nope, no, you're not going to support ICE.
Yeah, Paul chimed in about we need to find out who's funding this stuff. I just can't believe the FBI can't backtrack the money. All you need is one informant. I don't understand. I don't understand that. I mean, they should have had shut this thing down a long time in the funding. Hey, and if you don't want to get harassed or
Well, they can, Colonel Adams.
yeah, and if you don't want to get misinterpreted of why you're at a protest and you might get hurt because things are getting out of control, well, don't go to a protest. I mean, they're out there to cause problems, and it's going to come back to haunt them. When these people start shooting at each other, things are going to get serious real fast, and people are going to get hurt. But
they are causing problems.
But I'm more concerned about a false flag right now and somebody instigating a shooting or staging a shooting just to get them going. But if a police officer his life's threatened, they're going to shoot and they're going to fire back. So it's very, very tough situation. Hey, Carl's. I see Carl's on. Carl, I hope you're feeling better too.
Colonel Adams, you're breaking up just a little bit.
Okay. Am I back on now? I don't want to shut it down.
I think it's on my end. So I apologize, Colonel Adams. You know, I think I heard most of what you say, but yeah, something's going to happen. Carl states Jake Lang was stabbed in that mess on Saturday. I did see that, Carl. I posted some photos of him. I believe he's in critical condition also, from what I understand. Don't want to shut it down. And that's correct, Dottie. They don't. That's absolutely correct. And let's see, Dave in St. Louis says it's because the CIA is behind it. Probably so, Dave. You're probably right about that. And
no.
Colonel Adams, you know, to your comment, absolutely. We can use facial recognition just like they did on Jay. Yeah, I'm not sure. Our system's acting a little funny. I don't know what's going on. It's kind of breaking up a little bit. Hopefully it will get back on track, because I don't know what, sometimes it just does that where it freezes, but I think it is on my end. I do not think it's on Colonel Joe Adams, and I think it's on my end. So Colonel Adams, I apologize for the system breaking up. I'm not sure what's happening. I know that, so let's see, Carl said, I saved another guy that had just been knocked to the ground. That was awesome. They pulled up and bailed out of a van just in time. And Carl, think about that. How many others will there be? How many more people will be attacked? You know, this is going to be an ongoing problem until we put an end to it.
Yeah, it's going to get worse before it gets better. It's inevitable. So
it is going to. You're absolutely right. It is going to get worse before it gets better.
They're recruiting to bring in more outsiders once they run out. But hey, those guys in our Arctic detachment up there in Alaska, they're a bunch of badasses, and they're used to working in that weather. Some of these ice agents are coming from Florida, California, Texas. They're not used to this kind of weather, but I know a little bit about that. I went through cold weather school with NATO forces up in Canada. And those guys were up there. I mean, they're a bunch of badasses, so they're acclimated.
Now, Colonel Adams, the biggest question I have of all time is, why don't Democrats get it? Why do they not get it? You know, I'm gonna play this quick video here for everyone, because I'm mystified why they don't understand exactly what this ICE officer says.
We're here to arrest a child sex offender.
Nothing seemed to work right.
And you guys are out here honking.
Oh, no, we're pressed. We're not
that vehicle right there is honking and impeding our investigations while we're trying to arrest a child sex offender. That's who you guys are protecting. Insane. That's what we're doing. My voice not for you.
Well, they do get it.
I don't know. Colonel Adams, are you there?
I'm here.
I'm having all kinds of problems.
Deanna brought me up a note that says that
there you are.
They can hear my comm. So hey, no, though, you said to me that they just don't get it.
Were you able to see the video?
They do get it. The Dems do get it. What the Dems can't control, understand, they'll destroy. Then I find a contingent of state representatives and senators went over to Denmark to sabotage Trump's initiative. No, they do get it. They do get it. the Dems don't like it because the U.S. creed is we've always stood for humanity, and the Democrats, especially Somalians, can't even spell humanity. So, and that's a clash of cultures. And then we talked last week about parallel societies. Well, welcome to the parallel society world. It's not Donald Trump, it's the Democrats, period. And I hate to say it, but there's going to be a breakout of small patches of civil wars in this country because of the Democrats. Whatever the Democrats do for this country is wrong. Whatever Donald Trump does is good. And they can't accept that because they lose power. All this chaos plays right into the Democrats to gain power, to discredit Donald Trump and the Republicans. Did you copy that? Oh, Cindy, thanks. Let me know when you want to shift gears to Venezuela and Iran, and I'll tell you what's going on.
Sorry, Colonel Adams. I think everybody can hear you except for me. Yeah. I can't hear you for some reason. I can just kind of hear little bits and pieces, but everybody else can hear you fine. So I apologize if I interrupt or talk over you. It's because I can't hear you.
Okay. You want to go to Venezuela and Iran? Not physically, but you want to talk about them? You froze up again. Can you
Yeah, but everybody can hear you, just so you know. Yeah, well, it's whatever connection issue is just between you and I. Everyone else can see and hear fine. I'm just losing bits and pieces. It's something that's going on my end, and so I apologize. I'm going to get whatever it is. I will get it worked out today, so it does not happen again. And I have a feeling I know exactly what it is because some of the link has been kind of broken from before the show started. So I think it's just something with the streaming service. But Colonel Adams, while I still have you here, while I can hear you and see you, I do want to ask some other things. First of all, is there anything else you want to add to what's happening as far as what's going on with ICE? The only thing left I have to add, for that topic before we move on to, I know you want to talk about Iran before you head out, is that, ICE, Bovino, of course, he is the commander of ICE. He has made a very important statement of Border Patrol. And he said, 98% of the people we're going out and arresting are people who've committed very serious crimes. They're pedophiles, they're murderers, they're been involved in domestic assaults. They're, have committed, they're traffickers, gang members. But yet, if you're hanging out with one of these people and we come to arrest them, then yeah, we're going to ask you, hey, are you an American citizen? And yes, if you're not, we're going to detain you too. You're hanging out with these people. I would suggest that if you don't want to be detained, if you don't want ICE to interact with you, don't be hanging out with these felons because we're still only going after the most dangerous people in this country.
Well, you made a statement there about identifying yourself. Now, here's how slick they are. And actually, it's pretty good. Most people don't catch it. So now the media and Walls and Frey's up there saying, oh, yeah, if you don't have your papers, now, when's the last time you heard that? In all the Nazi shows, movies, where are your papers? And so they're doing that subliminally when all they need was a driver's license that they can run. But they're not carrying papers around with them. But the media uses that as a psyops against decent people because it sounds like the Gestapo.
Correct.
And they're making Gestapo references. They're slick. Yeah, where's your papers? You want to flip over to Iran real fast?
Absolutely. While I can hear you and see you, I definitely want to talk about something else. What's going on with Iran? It comes down to Trump and his advisors. We deployed troops, 2 weeks ago? They're there. They're on the ready. But Donald Trump's advisors are saying, oh, let's try to do this diplomatically. J.D. Vance says, no, let's go in. Let's create peace in this country. Let's get the regime out. And Trump's advisors tell him, no, back off.
Well, what they're doing right now in Iran and Venezuela is they're trying to get a handle on the military because we don't want a firefight down there or in Iran. So the CIA's inside. The Maduro people, the woman who's now president, they'll get rid of her, but they've got to go to a vote. And what was that? Machado or whatever her name was on TV over the weekend. She'll be elected president by a landslide. But what Donald Trump's doing is he learned by George Bush's mistake. When George Bush went into Iraq and destroyed the infrastructure and broke down the government, chaos pursued. And then after that, they broke up into groups and it turned into Iraqis against Iraqis. No, we don't want that. It's just like I told you in World War II, they kept the emperor alive to unify the people for control. So that's what we're doing right now in Venezuela, in Iran simultaneously. We don't want to dismantle that overnight because then it really gets bad. We want to do it nice and slow. Now, Maduro's got his generals and stuff are still in power down there in Venezuela. The CIA is working on it, and one by one, they'll be removed. But it's not going to be go in and just dismantle the infrastructure of the government and the military. No. And Trump's right. If you think about it, look what happened in Iraq. That mess is still going on. So anyway,
Yes.
Somehow when Donald Trump's in charge of foreign relations and foreign policy, that kind of thing, and then these senators and state representatives, 8 of them, go to Denmark to sabotage Trump. Now that can't be legal. 8 of them. They got nothing better to do. Now,
Well, they have literally nothing better to do. You're right.
let me tell you about Greenland, though. Greenland is halfway between the United States and Moscow. And here's something no one said yet. So now there's a bunch of training troops going up there and all that. Well, here's what's going to be released real soon. And the Democrats are the one who told this to Denmark. The Democrats. They said if you allow Donald Trump or the United States to build a missile system up there for defense of the United States, it won't work because all you're doing is making yourself a target by the Soviet Union and China. They will attack you before they attack the United States. That's what those senators and state representatives told the leaders in Denmark. Oh no.
Well, of course they did, but Putin has already responded to that. As a matter of fact, Putin already responded that, as did Dmitry Medvedev, and they said that is a bunch of BS. We have no intention of striking, any country in Europe.
No, it'd be a great missile defense system in case we do get bombed or send a missile over from Russia. Strategically,
We have
perfect.
to do it.
I've talked to more military
We have to
personnel
do it.
over the weekend and last week. It's strategically necessary in today's world that we occupy and man a base in Greenland.
Right. You're
Greenland-
Colonel Adams. You are correct.
Denmark can't even take care of itself. So
They can't take care of themselves. And, like Donald Trump said, and he's right in that statement I read earlier, I read the statement that he wrote to Norway, is that Greenland cannot defend itself. And you know what's going to happen? Denmark can't defend Greenland. Is that if we don't do it, then guess what? We'll do it diplomatically, or they can wait for China or Russia to invade them not so diplomatically. So why not give us a shot? He's willing to pay them money, including all the citizens. And I think somebody told us last year, was there about 50,000, 60,000 citizens? Donald Trump has said that he's going to pay every single one of them anywhere from $10,000 to $100,000 each if they vote, for us to have this, takeover, of course, of Greenland. It's going to happen one way or the other. It doesn't going to mean it's going to happen tomorrow. But if we don't get that piece of the Arctic region, we'll be a third world country. You think things are bad now? Wait until then.
Yeah, Paul chimed in about that Bush and Cheney went into Iraq to get rich. Well, I don't know about Bush, but Cheney did.
They all do. They all do. That's what war is all about, isn't it?
Cheney made millions and millions of dollars. He owned he had control of all the gas stations being built, the white buses that brought up all the illegals from the border and that was all. Cheney was a part of all that. He had his fingers in everything. Of course, now he's gone. So anyway, but you were right. There's always money to be made in war, unfortunately. So great motivation for people to get rich. We got Venezuela, man. Where's China?
That's what all wars are about, aren't they?
Yeah, where's China been?
China China's been involved with Iran.
Yeah. Oh, Cuba. Chinese might have something to say about that because they want to sell oil. Part of the deal is they want to sell Venezuelan oil to China, and they'll take you up on that. At the same time, they're going to cut off oil to Cuba. Now we've got Iran, we've got Cuba, we got Venezuela, right where we want them. Now we just got to close the deal.
Yes.
Close the deal, and we know we got a deal maker in the White House, so everything's looking pretty good. Halliburton, that's right, Kevin Halliburton made a fortune. Well, Cheney owned a piece of Halliburton. Cheney owned a piece of Halliburton.
You know, I don't know. You know, Colonel Adams, I think I say this on the show all the time. I am very impatient. You know, I want things to get done now, today. I know that it can't happen. The situation in Iran frustrates me beyond belief just because these people are being slaughtered. You know, the reason why you're not seeing a lot of video anymore, remember every day Iran was top of the news, you know, all these videos circulating and all this information coming out. All of a sudden, you're not really seeing a lot of those videos. It's not because they're not out there. It's because most of them aren't fit to be seen by the general public. I have watched a couple of those videos, and you know what they consist of? They consist of the Iranian regime bringing in Hezbollah from Lebanon into Iran and attacking the citizens. I have seen the Hezbollah get into vehicles and plow down citizens, protesters in the streets. I've seen them take out various weapons, mow people down in the streets. They're going into hospitals. And this is true. This is all true. It's all stuff I verified. They're going into hospitals. And it's all on video. You can see the videos. And what they're doing is they know that when the regime goes into a hospital and they see all of these people there, and trust me, there's thousands in the hospitals, and they're injured because they were part of this protest and probably got shot or hit by a vehicle or something else from the regime. Well, they're just executing them. They're just going into the hospital and executing people. There's countless videos of people laying on gurneys who've been executed when the regime came in. And you know, we don't have time. We just don't have time to wait. We owe it to these people. We owe them their freedom because we took their freedom away. So we owe them their freedom. And I'm so frustrated that we're not doing anything about it. You know, and I know regime in a matter of minutes, take out that there. And quite honestly, the regime would flee before we ever got there. But we're not doing it. Donald Trump's advisor said, don't do it. Stand back. In the meantime, thousands of people are being slaughtered. And then Iran said they would hold off on they're actually executing people.
Oh, well, Hezbollah is good at that. And also,
it's really frustrating.
I know, but that gives the regime in Iran an excuse that it wasn't them, it was somebody else. It's the infighting amongst the population. So it slows people, makes them hesitate. And Carl, you're good, man. I'm getting your comments, no problem. So, but not enough people are talking about Cuba. We know we got the CIA down there working hard inside. What's the name of the new leader of Cuba? The current president of a communist.
Oh gosh, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. So Raúl's and the rest of them, they're all gone. The Castros. So anyway, Cuba's in a situation where the people need to rise up. They really need to rise up, and I think that's possibly what we're waiting on for the people. And don't think the CIA won't arm people down there. I was thinking.
Oh, I'm sure they will. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
like they did in Iran.
We got to help the Cuban people. They're very, very nice people. They're very patriotic. These people, the cool thing about it is a lot of wealthy people in South Miami, Little Havana, that will get their property back that was taken by the government. And right away, these wealthy people that are in Miami are going to invest a lot of money in Cuba and rebuild it. So it's a win-win situation. We just got to make it happen. And you're right, Tab. We can go in and waste all these regimes all in a heartbeat. But it's the aftermath. We learned hard in Iraq. The aftermath is even worse than the initial fighting. So Trump's doing the right thing. Believe me, strategically, Trump's doing the right thing.
He knows what he's doing. And I understand he's doing what's best for America. You know, we're trying to put America first. But But at the same time, for people like me, I want to see it all happen overnight. And of course, that's not going to happen overnight. And you're absolutely correct. The aftermath is, something we have to think about. And it's just frustrating. It's like, I'm ready to go in. I'm ready to liberate all of these people, including the Cubans. But they're probably sitting back and they're seeing what's going on in Iran. And they're like, man, do we really want to rise up so we can be shot down, in the streets? Because nobody's coming to the defense of Iranians. Who's going to come to our defense?
One of the problems with Cuba during the Bay of Pigs is, and when Castro took over, the United States military for the whole part of the military didn't really have guerrilla fighting training and didn't have jungle training. There were certain parts of the like in the Philippines, they learned the hard way, but we really weren't that up to skills with jungle warfare. Well, those things have changed. All military branches are trained in jungle warfare. So if we have to go in to protect the people down, it won't be like Castro's deal and fight it in the mountains. Our entire Conventional War has changed. All the things that we didn't have, those skills we have now. We didn't have any desert training. I know, because they had some fighting in Africa, but for the most part, no U.S. military was desert trained. I was one of the first instructors to train the SEAL teams, the Green Berets, Army Special Forces, because, and I remember I told you before, I asked the one of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, I said, why are you so involved in getting these men trained for desert warfare? And we're going to the Mideast. We had limited people in the Mideast. We didn't have desert skills. Got them now.
And with all of our new technology.
Yeah. So our military is the most powerful military in the world. We have the best trained people. They're motivated. Enlistment's up because of Donald Trump. We're just fine. We're just going to have to deal with these idiot Democrats for a while so they don't get control. If they get control, it's really funny. So I told you that one of the problems is we have a two-party system, two strong parties. That's the problem. These other countries, I've talked about it, I'm repeating myself, but this is important. I told somebody yesterday about the two-party system, how it's the kiss of death. And she said, I never thought of that. This was a Hollywood producer, which I'm working on a show here recently. So she never thought of that. When you have two parties, just look at the Senate and Congress, right down the middle. Well, like 2 or 3 votes difference. Now, how'd that happen? The Independent Party, they're gone.
Right.
So that's the problem. We need more political parties, so one party doesn't have all the power. And the Democrats,
I couldn't agree more.
Democrats want that power.
I've been saying it for many years. We need to wipe the slate clean. We need to start all over. We need 5 or 6 parties, in my opinion. And, I know I don't want to obviously change the Constitution, but I don't really know if the Constitution really meant for things to be like it is now with this two-party system. And not only that, but the Democrat Party and the Republican Party, which I'm not a member of either one, quite honestly. I may support a candidate like Donald Trump who ran as a Republican. I am not a Republican. I'm certainly not a Democrat. But I'll tell you what, they're private organizations. They're not part of the government. They're not government branches. The Republican Party, who I absolutely detest, the Democrat Party that I absolutely detest, they are both private organizations meant for what? Profits. They're not. Yeah. They don't care about us.
No, especially the Democrat. Those guys that went over, those senators and state representatives went over there and talked to Denmark. Do you realize how bad that is? Now, I'm telling you, as a 21, my military career spanned 21 years. I've worked and fought in every crap hole on the planet, and these Democrats will go over there and convince Denmark not to allow Trump take the place. I hate that word "take." I remember he told you, but they know, and they've been told by their advisors, yes, Greenland is a strategic necessity.
Yes,
it will save lives. It will stop wars. In case of a war, it will save Americans, and they know that. and yet they'd
Correct.
still stop it just to spite Donald Trump and to gain power.
Well, no question. Now Canada's talking about sending troops to Greenland. Have you heard that?
Oh, Quebecois.
Well, we're going to start. We'll see Europe fall in line. You know, Keir Starmer, of course, the Prime Minister of the UK over that way. He's already falling in line. He said, well, President Trump needs to do what President Trump needs to do. I understand why they're doing it. Putin has said the same thing. He's like, hey, I don't like it, but I understand why Donald Trump is doing it because he's putting America first like he always has.
Well, you would have put a joint operational command up there. That's fine. Now, what didn't Iraqi troops show up over there? I mean, all these people are jumping on the bandwagon. Here comes Germany. Really, that's the best you can do. And Canada should have already been there and helped them. Quebecois.
It's all just a big mess. But you know what? In the end, we're going to work it out. I think we'll do so diplomatically, but we're going to do what is best for America. And part of that is going to have to be that we do take Greenland. And you know what? Hey, maybe we need Cuba too. I think we could all use some beautiful beachy vacations, couldn't we? I mean, it's practically part of America anyway.
It's an ancient paradise. I've been there twice. Hey, but also something went out and what if you read Donald Trump, here's what Donald Trump is telling Mexico and Venezuela. That they're all yelling sovereignty. The Mexican president who's got one goes to bed with the cartel. So she's saying, well, you can't come in and kill the cartel in our country. So here's what Donald Trump is sending a message to all South American countries, Bolivia, Colombia, Venezuela, and Mexico. And he's saying that, look, you've got to stop sending problems to the United States. Stop it. And if you don't stop it, we'll stop it no matter what. So what he's saying is, yeah, we recognize your sovereignty, but you're sending problems to us. You should be taking care of the problems, not letting it get to us. And if you don't, we're coming.
That's what we've got to do. We got to do what we got to do, right?
Right.
To protect our interests.
Yeah. So I don't care about anybody else.
No, Colonel Adams, right. We care about Americans, right?
Yeah, I don't care about anybody else. Anybody.
Exactly. And Colonel Adams, I don't know if I'm having these technical issues, so I apologize. But I can hear you right now. And
Okay.
while I can still hear, everybody else can hear you fine. It's just on my end. Before we head out, because I've got to run in a couple minutes, I got to go get some more testing done today. I have one more thing I want to talk about. And I know you're going to kind of laugh at this, but we've just got to talk about it because it's real news. Now, the Bank of England has been advised to prepare for a major financial crisis that could be triggered by an official announcement confirming the existence of aliens. They're saying that to the Bank of England, hey, you better get ready because we're about to make this disclosure. Now, Colonel Adams, I don't know what your beliefs are. If you believe in extraterrestrials or other life forms, I know I do. I don't know if I would call them aliens, but I do believe other things exist. But don't most Americans already kind of accept it? I mean, they're not coming down, fighting us with laser beams like War of the Worlds. Is there that possibility it could collapse the financial markets?
I don't see how. I really don't see how, but I guess that makes them illegal aliens, right? I don't know. That's the real definition of illegal aliens. I guess we could send ICE after them. No,
right. I don't think an official announcement for me is not going to change anything. The way I feel about it, we've had all these UAP hearings. We've had numerous government officials, numerous whistleblowers, so many different people, including Marco Rubio, give testimony to say, yes, these beings do exist. Yes, we have crashes. Yes, they call them biologics. Yes, we have bodies. Yes, we've spoken to them. We've talked to them. We've conversed back and forth. But the thing is that most people in the world, they just can't wrap their heads around it. So they just choose to think that we've not already had that disclosure. I feel like they've already told us that it exists. So, I don't need Donald Trump to stand on a stage and tell me.
Well, here's my belief. And if you disregard it, the evidence is here. Ancient civilizations, the pyramids, all kinds of, even the Mayans. We do not have the technology today to build those same structures.
Correct.
So are you going to tell me that people who didn't even have metal at times, I think that was the Bronze Age, I mean, are you going to tell me these people with no education built those incredible, incredible monuments on Earth by themselves? No. Somebody else was here before. It's a matter of technology. We cannot produce those things. So that's my proof. Yeah. Whether they're here or not now, I don't know, but they were here before.
Exactly. And Colonel Adams, I'm going to talk, I don't know if you have plans on Friday, but on Friday, I'm going to talk a lot more about this. There's a lot more information that's been released since I've had a conversation with listeners, since the last alien disclosures. And if you want to join me on Friday, you're more than welcome to do that. But okay. I'm going to be talking about some of this. I'm going to be playing some video clips of Marco Rubio, some of the other people, and some of the more recent statements they've been making. And I'll tell you, I think a certain amount of people will panic, but I mean, what are you going to do? Okay. So, there's aliens. What are you going to go to the ATM and take all your money out? Are you going to barricade your house? I mean, come on.
That's what the government does, is release all the information. That's exactly what will happen. Hey, I know you're going to close out. You got to go to work. Hey, girls,
I do.
Ladies, wives, girlfriends, this is important. What you would learn in 4 hours might save your life. That includes situational awareness. This is a hell of a deal. This man here is a friend of mine, a member of the Guard, one of the first to join. He knows his stuff. So spend 4 hours and $40, and you will just, it'll change your life. You'll feel better going to places. You'll see things that you didn't see before. Take my advice. I know what I'm talking about. And also join our newsletter. Okay, Patriots at thewashingtonguard.com. And join the newsletter. And of course, our website is thewashingtonguard.com. So,
Colonel Adams, when you send that to me, I'm going to make sure I post it for everyone to see.
This could save your life for $40.
No question about it. And
what's your life worth?
Exactly.
It'll give you confidence. You'll feel better about yourself in public. Tab, I'll try to be there Friday for you. All right. I got to go walk the dog.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that again on Friday. Also, I would love to have you Friday.
All right. I'll try. I'll do my best, okay?
All right. Thank you, Colonel Joe Adams. Colonel Joe Adams.
See you, Carl.
With the Washington Guard. Patriots at thewashingtonguard.com. And I apologize. I've been having all kinds of problems today with my cameras and everything else. As you can see, I don't have my normal camera angle. There's nothing I can do to fix it. I don't know what's going on. I apologize to everyone for any technical issues. I think you guys could all hear Colonel Adams and you could hear me, but I couldn't hear him throughout most of the show. So a little bits and pieces, but that's completely on my end, not on his end. I'm going to have that fixed by tomorrow. I know what's going on. It's an easy fix. I just can't do it in the middle of the show. But thank you guys all so much for hopping in today and joining Colonel Joe Adams and I. Very happy to see you all, and I will look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Lots to talk about tomorrow. Unfortunately, I will not be here Wednesday. I have to work Wednesday morning. I will be here Thursday and Friday. And so Friday, we're going to catch up on some alien disclosures. We haven't talked about that stuff in a long time. It'll be a nice little break. We're going to talk about politics too, but it'll be a nice little break to talk about something different on a Friday. But thank you again for joining me. I hope you guys all have a fantastic day and stay out of that cold, stay out of that wind. And I will see you all tomorrow. I'm Tabitha Hassell with Tabs on Tap.